ride along, ride along. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Thursday? Wednesday. Yes. I know I would have gotten it. Welcome to the ride. Welcome to the ride, guys. As you're coming, go ahead and share the program. Go ahead and share the program. Share the thing. Share the thing. Yes. Welcome. You ever realize in this time, right? In this COVID-19 time, we could never figure out what day of the week it is. Every day just seemed like a Sunday. Every single day just seemed like a Sunday. I can't figure it out. I'm getting up on Sunday thinking it's Saturday. I'm thinking Monday is Sunday. I'm all messed up. After this, you know what's gonna happen, right? We need all kind of assistance to try to figure this week out again. Leslie J, how you doing? Big up yourself, my friend. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great day today, guys. As you're coming, go ahead and share the thing. Lydia James. Hey, what's up? Let me big up some other folks that's watching right now. Licorice, big up yourself, guys. Say hi to somebody. Big up somebody. Wish somebody a happy birthday. Something. Selector Vibes, big up yourself, Selector Vibe. You didn't say nothing. The Hazel Jardine, big up yourself. How you guys doing? Glenda, big up yourself, Glenda. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for locking it down on the ride. Who we have watching from the BVI? Greetings from the USVI. How you doing, Hazel Ferguson? Thank you so much for watching. Spice Baffy. Thank you so much, guys. Listen to what I want you guys to do for me. I want you guys to go ahead and share the program or start a watch party. Share the program or start a watch party and let people watch it on your own page. Yeah, that's what they could do that, you know. They could do that. They could watch it on your own page. All your friends and them get invited and watch it on your own page. Who else we have? Good evening to you. What Tamika saying? Okay, that one is small. I couldn't read it. All right, guys, let's start the program because we have a lot to discuss today. We have our guests that we're going to be talking to, and as we said, we want you guys to participate in this conversation. This is a conversation not only with me and the minister, Honorable Dr. Clarice Modeste-Curwen, but it's a conversation I want you guys to be a part of as well. So we're going to open up the phone lines and you could call in at the appropriate time. We'll paste the number at the bottom of the screen. Volume. You guys not hearing me fine? You guys not hearing me good? You should be hearing me good. Yeah? You guys hearing me, seeing me? All right. Yeah. Should be seeing me fine. Yeah, guys, so as I said, it's a conversation with me, you, and the minister, right? And we have so much to discuss. So let's welcome here to the ride for the very first time, Minister Clarice Modeste-Curwen. Minister, welcome to the ride for the first time. It took COVID for me and you to link up.
It did, but I'm happy for the opportunity. And
yes.
Good evening to you and good evening to all of your listeners. It is indeed a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And, you know, as I said earlier, we have many questions, right? A lot of things to talk about. I don't know if the hour might be enough, so I hope you have a little bit over the hour because there's a lot to discuss. But how are you keeping up in this new dispensation, this new life, this COVID pandemic life? How are you keeping up?
Well, as well as can be expected, physically I am okay. My family here and abroad, they're all in pretty good health and pretty good spirits because now is a very depressing time, and it's good to know that they can laugh and we can share a joke. In terms of my office as Minister for Tourism, I must confess that it's an extremely challenging and difficult time for me, and of course, by extension, by our government and for our people. The number, about 10,000 people who are employed directly and indirectly in the tourism industry. So it is indeed a difficult time for us.
As you go around in your constituency, What are some of the things that you're hearing from the people, the population? What are they saying? What are the major challenges that they have to face with at this time?
Well, some people, when this disease just started and it was picking up momentum, the first thing that came out was the fear. Look at the numbers, and the numbers overseas are very alarming. And if you try to transport this number into a small population, the context of a small population as Grenada, then it does bring a lot of fear, for one's own safety, but for the survival of our nation. That was it initially. There was fear that food supplies would be in short supply. Having looked at, and we look at the television a lot, and persons saw empty shelves and hearing of some supplies that were very short in various countries. There was that kind of concern. But persons realized in short order that there is still food. And so that fear isn't there anymore. And now people have kind of changed. A lot of them some still have the fear, but a lot of them are saying, we want to open up. People want to open up. So even on the days of shopping, people who don't necessarily want to go out to shop or need to, they find themselves out there. So people are adjusting. Unfortunately, I must take the opportunity to mention here that adjusting to the situation does not mean that one should be careless, in terms of not wearing your mask, become complacent. And I have noticed a measure of complacency, and this is what bothers me, because
Hmm.
Grenada has gone through a lot: hurricane, revolution, a number of things, and we have succeeded. And we are a resilient people. But if we take COVID-19 for granted, we could have a very serious problem on our hands.
Yeah, I guess that is one of the major concern. When I asked you that question there, Lydia James, who is one of our avid viewers there, she said, "How could I ask you how you're keeping up?" She said, "Just take a look at you. You look as if you're glowing in quarantine."
Interestingly,
Uh,
it's more time in-house,
yeah.
but more work. And even to this afternoon, just before I came on, with your program, I had another program with the permanent secretary and staff of the Ministry of Tourism, because now and I don't know if I'm preempting a question here, but we're in the process of seeing how we can recover
Hmm.
and start back afresh as we've done before. And she was saying, but this is harder work than going into the ministry 5 days a week, because it's a lot of brain work, it's a lot of thinking, and also it's a bit of stress, because
Yeah.
now it's not just coming up with something new, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen. You're doing good. Whatever you're doing good. I hope we could glow as good as you glowing in this quarantine time. I badly need a haircut. I have
Well,
so much
well,
issues.
why do you think I have my head tied? I
Okay,
haven't got
okay.
to get dressed.
All right.
So I looked at my hair and I said, "No way, I'm going on
Okay.
Ride Along," because I hear about you a lot. I know
Okay.
you're a popular show, and I say, me, and this is Grenadian talking. They know me. I'm not going on that show with my hair like that. So I run to get
Okay.
something and I tied it up in my waist, and I like to do that anyway. That is my thing. African wear, African head tie, so it wasn't difficult. But that's why my head is tied today.
Okay, all right. I need to take a lead from you. But let's get into the program. Guys, I said we have a lot to discuss, some very serious issues to discuss. While looking at everything that's happening here, right, I'm thinking, and one of the things that came to mind is the economy, all right, and how the economy would look post COVID-19. Now, is there any plan that you're thinking about, that the government of Grenada is thinking about, that would boost the economy going forward, where tourism is potentially not at the top of the ticket in terms of our focus, and possibly the United States is not one of the main trading partners? Is there any plan that would take us for ahead without these two important components that we got used to pre-COVID-19?
Very much so. As you would well be aware, the US was our largest source market. The greater percentage of our visitors came from the US. And of course, we have a huge diaspora there, and they always come and visit Grenada. I love that about the mix of visitors that we have. It always have a significant portion of Grenadians. And we that will be maybe non-existent or on a low for a long time to come. UK, Germany, similarly, coming in place certainly after the US. So we do know that the tourism sector will take a while to recover, whether it's the cruise, whether it's the stayover passengers, it will affect us very badly. Just before COVID, we had reached our 500,000 mark in terms of visitors in 1 year, and that is quite a few times the size of our population. And we were looking to top that in 2020 and 2021, but we have to see. So you're quite right. The economy is seriously affected now as it is. Tourism was one of the first industries to feel the impact of COVID, and it probably will be the last. And so the government has set up structures in terms of engaging some of the minds in Grenada, not just the government workers, but engaging bankers, engaging hoteliers, engaging financiers, economists, farmers, just name it. They have put various committees together to look at what we can do. And I must tell you that agriculture is high on our agenda. Um, you know, yesterday or the day before, somebody dropped my package for me, and locally,
Mm-hmm.
locally, in the park where I live,
Mm-hmm.
and it had just about everything I wanted. It was a one-stop shop, and that felt good because it was made in Grenada.
Yes.
And so agriculture is top on our list. The poultry is high on the agenda. Our poultry bill
Mm-hmm.
is about 64 million. I think that was the last count I was given. And we have to go local. We definitely have to go local. So I know in conversation with the Minister for Agriculture and her people, her team, they are pushing that. They're looking at a number of ways, looking at the big farmers, looking at the small farmers, and even looking at the backyard gardening, so that even if you cannot use it as an income generating business, certainly you can cut your costs as well. So that is one of the major things I know that government is looking at.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that is going to come back very quickly is construction.
Mm-hmm.
Construction has made a serious contribution to the economy. That is another one that is being looked at. Well, there is a committee for tourism as well, because we have to open up at some time, but we know that it will not bounce back as fast as these two that I've mentioned. And there are other areas which do not immediately come to mind. These are the two areas that are focused on.
Right. So, do you think that in hindsight, looking back at how the economy was structured, I remember when I was growing up, we know about cocoa, nutmeg, and banana. I used to go and pick up nutmeg and go and sell it in the pool and get cocoa and sell it in the pool, and that's how I used to make me look for $20.
That's right.
So, looking back at it in hindsight, do you think that it was a mistake that we put all, like almost all our eggs in the tourism basket, relying on somebody else to basically to feed us? In other words, if it's bad in the US, then we ultimately feel the impact. And agriculture got like second, third, fourth on the list. Was that a mistake in hindsight?
In terms of policy, it was not. But maybe the way it was carried out, it certainly gave that kind of impression. But I just want to say to you that in the last couple of years, with our hotel stock growing,
Mm-hmm.
and with myself and the Minister Yolan Bain Hosford, we've had, and she has been in tourism before, and I come from an agriculture background, and we have sought to forge alliances between agriculture and tourism, because I do not believe it should be one or the other. It
Mhm.
should be both of them supporting each other and agriculture going even further. And we have done that. And any farmer will tell you now, any serious farmer will tell you that with the tourism industry down, that is affecting the market. Um, the markets might have dropped a bit now. Not the production might have dropped a bit now, but they're saying that projecting ahead, it is going to be a problem without having the tourists. So it's if agriculture has lagged behind, then there was a gap that needed to be filled, certainly between agriculture and tourism. But our commitment is to build agriculture to the point where we can have food security in our country, but also to ensure that most of what is used in the hotels are locally grown. And some of the hotels, like Sandals and so, they are in high praise for the locally grown food, the melons and so on. They say it is the best melons in the world. So there is no reason why it should, but I agree with you. Agriculture has been left to lag behind, and we have to pull it further.
Yeah. How much work do you think that needs to be done from here? How much damage has been done to agriculture? And do you think that it's something that would be an immediate kickback, or it would take a number of years? So in foresight, you're looking forward to what's happening. How long do you think it would take to get at least agriculture kind of running like fluid, like it kind of used to before? You have a time frame, possibly?
Okay, now I believe you want weeks and months and years.
Well,
While I cannot give you that, but let me tell you that the minister and her team, they have put together a plan already for the short term and the long term. They are looking at propagating seedlings, plants, and so on. They have Mirabo, which they have taken already something to cabinet to beef up the staffing there so that they can do production. Right where I live in St. Mark, Maran used to be a tissue culture place, and it had certainly been abandoned for a while, but it's back again. There are hundreds of banana plants there. I don't know how soon it will be ready, but they have a good height already. Those I saw were over a foot high, so I don't know. I can't say I know how high they have to get before they can propagate them, but certainly that is going. I think the key thing here is that there is zeal to do it in the
mhm.
farmers. I've seen some young farmers, which we thought that when the older ones died, agriculture will be dead, but I've seen some young people coming up. And in the COVID stimulus package, what government has done, they have come up with a soft loan with high emphasis on agriculture and agri-processing so that young people can get into business, buy equipment, buy whatever, at 3% interest per year.
Mhm.
And they they're going to waive up to a certain percentage of the loan. They're going to waive the collaterals and the, how do people say, the security that you're supposed to have to get a loan.
Right.
That is going to be waived up to the first $10,000, and then above that you will have to come with some measure of security, because we want it to be a revolving fund so that people feel obligated to pay when they make money,
Mhm.
and others can get. So I think and the emphasis, as I said, was agri-processing and agriculture. I want to say before I leave too that the Poultry Association has done a fantastic job in lobbying, and government has granted some of the wishes. And only recently, there were discussions about putting the policies that have been put in place. So, for example, having a certain percentage of the poultry that is used in the country. So, if we import 2,000 pounds of poultry, then 200 pounds should come from local. So that is just waiting to be taken to Parliament to be a legal document. But in principle, that has been agreed and conversations have been held. So the interest is still there among persons wanting to get into farming, more wanting to get into it. And I believe it's just proper direction, proper facilities for farmers so that they can get easy loans and so on. And I believe we can be a force to be reckoned with in the field of agriculture as well.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. You sung exactly like the Minister of Agriculture right now.
We talk all the time because we have to marry. We have married agriculture and tourism. We talk all the time, and
Is
so I have a good understanding of it. And when I hear farmers cry out, I call and I say, what can we do? In this COVID time, can we get them to sell the nutmegs? How can and apart from others, we talk off the record. So I know that I speak with confidence that she has the interest, and her permanent secretary and others, and that cabinet is right behind them.
is that a new vision though? Because when you look at the budget, when you look at the past budget,
Mhm.
especially with this administration, you see so much output for tourism, which is not bad because I
Mhm.
mean it's
Mhm.
coming in and okay, people are spending, people are cruise ships are coming, planes, JetBlue. I was actually on the inaugural flight that came into JetBlue, so it was great. But it seemed like all the focus, everything was put on there, and in the budget didn't allocate a lot of these resources. So is this a new projection? Is this a new feeling? And how recent is this? Is this merger of tourism and agriculture? How recent is this
The,
conversation?
the merger, it started a while, because I will tell you, the first chef that came to Silver Sands, that is about what, 2 years ago. He went to all of the farms. He went to all of the farms. He linked up with the farmers. He introduced some new types of crops, which some farmers are doing now and marketing successfully. And a number of his dishes were Grenadian dishes with Grenadian names,
Mhm.
that he brought up together. And me and my colleague minister, we were there all along with that. Sandals again, a number, and it has been our commitment. It has been our focus to insist that hotels, that they purchase what is locally grown before seeking it abroad. But we have a problem, if you know. We
Mhm.
still are a little bit in the past how many years, because we still do a dry season, rainy season kind of thing. And I'm happy to see that we're moving out of that. We're moving into irrigation, because you cannot provide or supply a particular product for a season and not have it for another season,
Mhm.
um, in the hotel sector and in most other sectors. So gradually it has been moving, but I think now it's going to take a quantum leap.
Mhm.
And because of what has happened where we are, and the reality is that we must be able to take care of ourselves, from a food production point of view.
Yeah, and it's important. Now, recently I saw an article on GBN, I believe, that said that Grenada has if not the most cancer cases in the region, if not it was one of the, right? What do you
Yes.
think account for having, what do you think that is? I remember when I was growing up, people was dying of old age, people was dying, old people die, but now people are dying like crazy from cancer. What do you think is the cause of that?
I'm glad you asked me what do I think, and
Yeah.
not what is the cause, because it would take some scientific research. But you're right, the incidence of cancer is significantly high in Grenada. Um, and my thinking is on this, that if we look at 50 years ago, 40 years ago, average, what we ate, our activities were different. So we ate mostly local, and I make no apologies to say that we didn't have the KFCs and the other things like that, the fast foods, which have fast taken over.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem with somebody eating a little KFC or uh, um, pizza or something occasionally, but it seems as though these have become the staple foods, and I believe that this is a significant contributor, based on what I've read, based on what I've heard, to persons coming up with cancer and other things like exercise, and some of the books, the things that the things that are lauded abroad, like the fancy name turmeric. We knew it and still do know it as saffron. Some people tell me it's different, but
Hmm.
nobody has proven to me what the difference is. People are telling me about other things like lemongrass and so on. And before, people used to eat healthy, wholesome food and have herbs, and we have digressed from that. So
Yeah.
I just need to go back and say, but what did they do differently? They
Yeah.
exercised, they walked, they didn't sit on the computers or the television all the time. And I think lifestyle plays a very, very significant role in it. So now we're talking about agriculture coming back. I'm hoping that our lifestyle can change again.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what I think. That's what I think.
Mhm.
I think that we adapted the lifestyle of the U.S. and Canada and these countries.
Mhm.
If you adapt the lifestyle, the food and everything else, because of globalization, we will also get the diseases that's prominent out there. And I think it's a good point where we're talking about more input, more focus on agriculture. Because if we grow natural stuff, organic stuff in our backyard, and if that was a focus where a lot of the budget allocation was towards helping farmers, and I'm not sure of the number in the budget, but I know it wasn't as much as tourism and other sectors.
No, it wasn't.
Right. Okay. So it's because we are adapting to the lifestyle of the US and Canada and those other places. So we're actually getting the disease as well. I just think that that's what
True.
it is.
Mhm,
So I
mhm.
think this is a reset. Is a good point to reset. If we're saying that we're focusing on agriculture, then
Mhm.
I think that that is a good thing. Not only for the new economy, but also for the health sector,
Yeah,
because now we grow in what we eat and we eat in what we grow.
that is what we go. That's right.
Exactly. Right. So I want to get your vision, and we have some other stuff to touch on. I want to get your vision. Again, what do you think about the new economy? What is it going to look like? What is it going to comprise of? What are the elements in that new economy projecting going forward?
All right. So now you're putting me in deep waters, but I'll try to swim.
Try to swim.
Um, I'll try to swim. Um, yes, the new economy going forward. We had a service-oriented economy, and that is what tourism is, and some other areas. Now we have to have a mix, a more practical approach to the economy.
So
Um,
hold on. Are you saying that the previous one was impractical?
it was not as practical as it should have been.
So it was impractical.
I will leave you to decide that for yourself.
Okay.
But there were a lot of good things about it, because no, you cannot only look at tourism in the sense that to say that a lot of monies have been spent on tourism and not on agriculture. Sometimes the money that one industry generates can contribute to the development of the other industry. So tourism could and should have put a some money, a significant money, so that government, whether in GDP or otherwise,
Mhm.
could put some monies. And over the years, this is what has happened.
Oh,
Uh,
that actually happened. That happened. So
oh yes,
tourism input into agriculture and other sectors.
into the economy, into the revenues of government
What
would
percent of
have
the GDP?
through
What
that.
percent of the GDP? What percent of the GDP is approximate tourist arrival in terms of airline landing at Maurice Bishop International Airport and cruise ships, approximately?
Well, the jury is still out on that, but from our take in the tourism industry and the figures that we have crunched together, we would dare say about 30%.
Okay, about 30%. Okay, continue.
Okay, so where were we now in
Oh,
terms of what we want to see?
yeah,
All
the
right. So,
projection. Yeah.
so yes, so while I would leave the economists to give you the full picture, and I know that there's a committee looking at that, um, I would say that it has to be. We have to look more at training and appropriate training,
Hmm.
skills skills, and I know the Minister for Education has been looking at that, and I don't want to um, cross over too much into anybody's borders, but
Yeah.
I know the discussion has been appropriate skills, because we know sometimes people go abroad and they learn a skill and they cannot implement it here for one reason or the other at the particular time when they completed. And there are needs, demands in Grenada for certain skills that we still have to seek abroad. And I'll just give you one example. The new hotels that have been built or are being built, one of the requests was to bring in persons who could assist in tiling porcelain tiles, because I am told it requires a certain kind of skill, a certain kind of skill. Therefore, um, we have to teach people to do these things so that our people will be there to get the jobs. And I know the ministry has been looking at skills training, because our system is not quite geared to to accommodate persons who just want to learn a skill and to implement. We are still more academic. But I'll rest my case there, because that is not my field, so I don't want to go too far into it. But I
Right.
think the training has to be more in line with what our needs are, and more studies have to be done. I mean, our fishing industry has grown significantly. So we talk about agriculture, we haven't talked about that. It
Right.
has grown significantly. And fishermen here, they've learned the long line skills, and they're bringing in double figures in tuna in one day going out. And the tuna is one of our serious export, yellowfin tuna, one of our serious export fish. So
Mhm.
that that is very critical to look at as well. So I think going forward, we'll be looking at the training, we'll be looking at some of the areas. We still have uh, other programs that we're going to look at, but there are quite a number. But these are the priority ones that comes to my mind.
Right, right, right. And we had a opportunity to speak to the good minister there, Miss Honorable Minister Pierre. She was on the program sometime last week.
Mhm,
Had a
mhm.
long and really nice
Yeah.
discussion, and I'm happy that the view now is to skill training and practical training, where they're learning things like computer programming and game programming and all this stuff that they could be in Grenada and still provide services to the wider world, and that's important.
Yeah, but
You
this
know,
is changing too, because we have in Palmis, we have NULO,
right?
and government does support NULO financially um, significantly. And they do a fantastic job in teaching skills. And this, this is something that we support as a government. And a number of persons who provide the plumbing, the electricals, and other things in these countries, even in the hotel sector and in the construction center, they were trained in that rural institution, NULO. So that is picking up, and you can ask anybody. They come from far and wide, from St. George, from St. Andrews, all over, and they have a fantastic program there. So it can just get better.
Yeah, yeah, guys, we're talking here to Minister Dr. Clarice Modeste-Curwen. And we're talking about everything. We'll structure this conversation because there's so much that I would like to ask her, and I know you want to ask questions as well. We're going to open up the phone lines for you to do that. I want to transition a little bit, Minister, to talk about what is the current one of the other current thing in the news as it relates to stranded workers on cruise ship. The post that's on the screen right now by Ricardo Keynes Douglas, he said they are nationals who went to Canada for medication, etc., and they were returning the week that the airport was closed, and now they're stranded. We have that situation. We have
Mhm.
situation where Grenadians that are on board vessels over there in Miami, Florida, and they're trying to get back. What is being done to repatriate Grenadians that are stranded abroad back into Grenada?
Mhm. All right. So the first thing we have to understand is that most people who go to work on the cruise ship, they go in they go, there's a private company here that works along with persons, does training and gets placement for them. So we as a ministry and as a government do not necessarily have all of the information on everybody who goes.
Right.
um, we have some idea, but we don't know about everybody. So what has been happening in this recent time is that cruise lines have reached out to us and say, look, we have so many Grenadians we want to repatriate, and we would like to talk about that. And so we started off with Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, with Disney, and with MSC. And we discussed how it was going to be done. We told them our preference would have been to have a charter
Mm-hmm.
a charter flight, since the cruise port was closed and the airport is still relatively open for cargo. So we thought that was easier. However, because our passengers are not just Grenadians, there are a number of Caribbean crew members on that cruise, on that ship. Because of that situation, they asked us whether they could come in with the cruise ship. So we said, okay, fine. And we have agreed on what we're going to do. We do have a policy laid down as to how it's going to be. And I know some people are not happy with it, but they will have to be quarantined. This is for everybody's safety. Before we send you to your household, to your parents, to your cousins and your nenen, we want to ensure that you are COVID free. So we're going to do that for 2 weeks. We have some facilities for that. I'm just waiting on the dates. We have been given some dates thus far. With two of that, the first three cruise lines that we were talking about, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines have given us a date, I think the 25th of this month. Disney has given us the 20th, somewhere thereabouts. But that is in place, and we are just waiting. MSC has told us that they are still working out the modality, so we are waiting on them. So right now, the ball is in the court of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there have been two others who we learned, by the way, that they are in the Caribbean waters and they want to bring our passengers in. Um, that for us is not the best way, because, as I said, we want to quarantine, we want to test them, and we want to put them in okay facilities. And if, when we just hear a few days before that somebody's coming, and especially if that one is coming in before those we had scheduled, and it
Mm-hmm.
could interfere with the allocation of quarantine, it makes it a little bit of a challenge. And that is one of the reasons I had a meeting today with staff looking at how we could accommodate, because you have to remember, we have to test them. Testing supplies, we have done extremely well to get any into this country. And I don't need to tell you what has
Mm-hmm.
been happening with testing supplies that have been ordered by various countries. But there are some people headed by one gentleman, one of our ministers, and he pulls it out from wherever. But we still have to be measured. But
Right.
government has given its commitment to bring in all of our stranded passengers, and we're giving the cruise the priority, because right now we don't like the idea of them just roaming over the waters, not knowing when they're going to have it. So we're scheduling it. As I said, those on Royal Caribbean and Disney, they have already given us a date. The others we're finalizing, and now we're working with the two unexpected ones to see how we could accommodate.
In total, how many numbers do we have? And in terms of cost, what is the cost of mandatory quarantining these people, or whatever number it is, for the 13 or 21-day process? Talk about
Okay.
what's the cost of, what's the average cost of that quarantine?
In total, it might be about 160. The numbers change as we go along.
160 what per person?
No, no, no. Oh, sorry. The number of persons that we're
Oh,
looking at.
okay, sorry,
Yes,
160
yes.
persons. Okay,
About
160
160
persons.
persons, just roughly. Royal Caribbean has 44. Disney has 19. Holland America, and Carnival, which are in the area, have 19 and 27. Norwegian has not contacted us yet. I don't know why, because the cruise lines do have all of our contacts, and I know I have received a call from one or two persons. So it is our responsibility to find our sons and daughters wherever they are. But I think it's also a responsibility of the cruise line, because the agreement with the workers is to take them out. They're responsible for them on as they leave the country, and they're responsible for them when they land back into the country. So I think it is still a part, and we are partners in this, and
Mhm.
the cruise lines have always been, we're all partners. Let's put it that way. And we are happy for the cause. It creates jobs, but I think there are ways to do things, and we need to. We're going to contact them, but we're not happy with where that is. Also,
Mhm.
there is a CARICOM initiative, because most of the islands have other people, and
Mhm.
we're also balancing between what we do here and what CARICOM is going to recommend in that regard. But we are already in these discussions, and we would not hold it up.
Right. So, what is the cost per person to maintain the quarantine average?
The cost per person for quarantine could, well, the average I was given is about 350 US. And I'll tell you that involves going to meet them. You have to have your proper PPE, because what we do is we presume that everybody
Right.
is positive. I
Including
tell
you and me.
people,
Including you and me.
don't accept me without my mask.
Yeah.
Presume that I have it. That's the only way we
Yeah.
can get through this period. Um, on Not untouched, we've been touched, but safely through it.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be met with people with the proper PPEs. They're going to be tested on coming in. We have also asked the cruise lines to test them 48 hours before they bring them in. But on arrival, we are going to do our testing, because, the eyes of the master. We have to have our eyes on this. Um, we have the quarantine facilities, some hotel facilities, some with SGU, and we have to pay the hotel for 3 meals a day, and they have been um, very, very reasonable.
Hmm.
Um, so that has helped tremendously. So we have those rooms available and waiting. The cruise lines have been a little bit difficult, in
Hmm.
that some of them are have declared bankruptcy, some are on the point, some have sold shares, and they're they're crying the cry.
Right.
So the thing is, we want our people to come. They want to get them off the ship. Um, it will have to be a shared cost, because
Right.
if we made it high, it will just delay the arrival of our children.
On average, you're talking about $150,000 in that range. Who is footing that bill? Is the government getting some kind of IMF funding? And what if the cruise line decide that they did what they have to do? Their obligation are met. They don't have to house them. They have to get them on the land back to their homeland. They don't have to. They have no responsibility to put them up in quarantine or in the house. That's not on the contract.
Yes.
So who's paying that bill?
The thing is, we have made a commitment, and whatever it is we are going to do, we do not have any IMF funding to repatriate our citizens. The soft loans that have been gotten through World Bank, they are not specifically for that. And usually when World Bank gives funding, they they do when World Bank is funding, they do specify what it is to be used for. But
Mhm.
I am hoping that should the need arise, because even if you don't, let's say you use testing materials, the kits, the swab, well, the kits go on for a while, but the swabs and so on. Um, Even if you have that there, but it lessens your supply, and
Mhm.
it affects your ability to deal with other situations. And so government has to replenish all the time. So the cost still, the burden of the cost will be on government
Mhm.
to provide those things. The airlines, sorry, the cruise lines have agreed to contribute, but they're still grumbling a little bit on it.
Yeah.
So that is where we are.
Kay posted, Kay Morris, that's the comment that's on the screen. She said, "What about the small business or guest houses that are willing to let them stay there for less? Are there cheaper options? Did all opportunities have been looked at in terms of housing them? And is the hotels, are they charging the government for housing these individuals in quarantine?"
Okay, now there's two situations. Um, the For example, with SGU, we have an arrangement. We had to provide certain things, but they didn't charge us for the accommodation per se. With the hotel, they have been extremely reasonable. I will share that cost with you, but since we're negotiating at this time, I
Yeah.
would rather not say. But
Okay.
extremely, I mean, what they're charging is not what they usually charge a hotel. So this is not, it's a hotel arrangement in that, and I'll tell you why. We
But is
want
it is the
people,
hotel getting bailout? Is hotel getting bailout and
hotels
stimulus?
are not for example, and I know there's a misunderstanding, and I did see a question pop up. So let me just clarify that issue.
Mhm.
Um, the payroll support, or what you call bailout, there is no bailout as we see in other countries for big conglomerates.
Mhm.
The support is payroll support up till now for low income persons, not managers or higher up. It's for low income persons, and and these are people who maybe go from month to month, paycheck to paycheck sort of thing. These are the people who are targeted. So their income must be less than $5,000 a month, and even much less than that. So
Mhm.
these are the cleaners, your people who are vulnerable. These are the people who are going to help, but there's no bailout for hotels, neither senior managers who would get a significant salaries. There is none for that. So I wanted to clarify that. I was talking about the hotel rooms
Mhm.
because they are self-contained, toilet, bathroom, and so on. We want to keep everybody separate. They would provide a better facility for us now than for the smaller places where people might have to share certain facilities. That's why we
Mhm.
opted for that. But I must tell you, we called everybody we could call,
Mhm.
everybody. And I remember Uncle Gary used to say, "You don't wash your dirty linen in public." I'll leave that one
Mhm.
right. We call a lot of people, a lot of people.
Mhm.
I'll leave it right there. I'll say no more.
And I guess not everybody was came forward. You could
No.
just send. You could just give me those information, and then I'll
No,
just
I'll
leak
just
it.
say not everybody
Just-
did not. And maybe I should take the opportunity here to thank those who came. To be honest with you, some are fearful. And I mean, COVID is a fearful thing. Let's be fair.
right.
Let's be fair. But we have our children out there to bring back. So sometimes you have to balance things. And I don't think the balance was always there. But
Right.
some persons who could not give their place, say, I will help in that way or help the other. We appreciate that as well. And if anybody could assist in the food, we have approached some of the bigger supermarkets, and they have agreed to provide materials for the incoming people, because we do not want to say to them no to pay,
Mhm.
because we do not know what is the financial situation. And if somebody is scared on a cruise ship, asking them how much can you pay, how much money do you have, I don't think that is the role of a government at this time. Certainly not the government that I am a part of. So that is the situation now. We have not asked the crew to pay. If they feel that they've made a good money and they want to give a contribution for who has
Mhm.
to come behind, that is fine, because we could do with some contributions towards that.
Yeah.
However, the government is prepared to quarantine them and repatriate them and take them home to their loved ones.
Okay. Because I guess you clear. I guess you cleared up that kind of misunderstanding, because
Mhm.
it was that, okay. Well, if these hotels are getting bailed out or stimulus or however you put it, however was said,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, then why are they then turning back and charging the government for housing these people that needs to be quarantined for X amount of period of time?
So the money goes directly into the account of the vulnerable persons to give them
Okay.
support. And
Okay.
that has been published. It's not secret.
Okay. All right, guys. We open up the phone lines. You want to get your views. You could ask your question. The number that you call is on the screen, 718-701-5720. We don't get the minister every day on the program, right? This probably might be the last time. Hopefully for the year. Hopefully we get you again so we could talk some more. So we don't have to rush it.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Okay. Until we wait for a call, let me ask this question as it relates to someone put a newspaper 2 weeks ago posted that American Airline was getting ready or had on their website listing to fly back to Grenada. So they basically said that you could have booked from New York and come back to Grenada, direct flight from New York, from JFK. I saw Parliament the day after where you clarify that. Where was the misunderstanding? Is it that American Airline is moving and doing whatever they want in terms of making arrangement without notifying government? How is that relationship work? How does that relationship work?
I don't know what was the criteria for deciding on that, but there was no official conversation before that schedule was put up, and when the schedule was put up, a request was made. A request was made for landing, and we told them that the airport was still closed. That was our response.
Uh-huh. And they went
So I
ahead.
cannot speak for what motivated them, but they are a business, and so they can make their decisions, but we have to make our decisions and decide when we are ready.
Let me ask you this question, Minister, as it relates to the U.S. foreign policy, because it's become my understanding, I guess the understanding of everyone, that the U.S. administration is bullying a lot of people, a lot of states here in the United States to open up, right? The president is, in my words, not yours, is bullying states to open up, even in cases where there are an upsurge of the coronavirus. Is the US pressuring Grenada and other smaller countries to do the same, to allow these flights to start coming in, to allow travel to convene or to reconvene as it was back in weeks or months ago? Are you getting pressured?
We have not been directly approached by the US. As I said, the American flight was posted and a request was made. There was something too on JetBlue, and when I inquired about it, I was told that it was an old schedule, but we have certainly not given them. So the pressure, if there's any pressure, has been the request, because one has to always remember that these people, these companies are our business partners, and they have to be treated with some measure of courtesy from our side, and sometimes maybe a little bit of deeper courtesy. But at the same time, they know, and we have told them that. So if there's any pressure, it would only have been that putting up a schedule, and people are going to buy tickets. So then what do you do? But
Yeah.
other than that, in terms verbally or otherwise, there has been no communication in that regard.
You said the right word. You said a nice word there. You said that partnership, and it didn't seem kind of like a partnership. If I'm doing something on my end and I'm not notifying you, this is not a
Very,
partnership.
yes,
It's more like a
yes.
dictatorship.
It should have been. It should have been differently.
Right,
Yes.
right. So
Because one other airline from another country, one or two, they have written to us and asked us when are we projecting to open, because
yes,
even if it's 2 months from now, they have to start putting out their schedules, their flight schedules and the prices and so on, and invite people to buy tickets. So they have asked us that, what is our projection? And I think that was a nice way to go about it. People want to start back business, but we are waiting. We have said we are waiting on the health persons. As a matter of fact, this is not just Grenada by itself. There is a committee now of the OECS and CARICOM. CARICOM as a region now is looking at when do we open, because CARICOM has understood that one country opening and the other member states not opening might not be the best thing. And so they have set up a committee now of civil aviation people and so on, who are looking at just that. How do we open up? What would we be looking for? How will we measure our situation? Number of cases, whatever not. And so we have CARFA, that is in Trinidad. CARFA is the Caribbean Public Health Advisory Body, and they do testing for us as well. They have come up with a draft. They're sharing it with the healthcare people, the chief medical officers and their teams, and they're going to be coming up with something very, very soon, because we still cannot sleep. We have to prepare for an opening, and while we would focus on other things, tourism still is important to us.
Yes.
So they have a team looking at that. Tomorrow we have an OECS webinar to discuss a proposal that has been made, and we will set a time down the road when we can accommodate. I expect it would be this year, but when exactly, I cannot say at this time.
What would be the criteria? Because I know the CDC have certain guidelines in terms of when a state should open up. They should open up if they see
Yeah.
21 a few days straight without any cases. They have the criterias.
Yes.
What would be the criteria? Any specific criteria that you would look at as tourism minister as to what have to be there before you say yes, we'll open up?
Okay, so the first thing is that we're guided by the health people. So you have
Right.
heard a lot about the flattening of the curve and all of these things. We'll be looking to for the flattening of the curve. But from a tourism point of view, the things that we have to look at is certainly we're going to be doing things differently. So right now you have a team from civil aviation, airport people, and so on. We are looking at what will we do to prevent the spread. Things like more hand sanitizers, the distancing in the waiting area, and all of that. How are we going to start to open up? I think one airline has said to us that they're going to leave the middle seat vacant. Whether that is doable or not, I don't know, because they have to make their money too. And I don't know whether they would want to do it, but we would like to see that. There are other protocols that will have to be followed on an international basis. So, for example, the airlines take responsibility for ensuring that these people are tested 48 hours before they leave, and that would take working with IATA and ICAO, which are international civil aviation bodies that advise on that.
Hold on. Let's go back a little bit. So you're saying they have to get tested before they get on the plane? So if I had to come home, the new policy would be that you have to get tested, everybody?
Well, in the immediate, how shall I say it, aftermath of the upheaval with COVID, we
Uh-huh.
would want to see that. Hopefully it will not be forever. We don't flu has killed people and other diseases. We don't say everybody has to have it. But we think that to start off, and this is one of the things that we're putting together. Maybe by the time we're ready to start flight, who knows, it might change.
Yeah,
But
but
these are
here's a problem, Minister. Here's a problem. To get
yeah.
a test here is not as easy. Where when the president say everybody could get a test, there's still people that wants to be tested but still cannot be tested. So how do you mitigate between getting to fly, not being able to get a test, and then you can't get on a plane if you don't get a test? So here we have a problem.
We do have a problem,
Yeah,
but I cannot solve it in this sitting. So
right.
I will beg for another time, maybe one-on-one. But for the moment, these are some of the things we're putting on. I have seen something in the UAE where people pass through a structure open on both ends, and they're sprayed with something, and they're supposed to exit from it at least externally COVID free. So the clothes, the handbag, or something like that would have been sprayed. These other things, the hotels, different protocols now, maybe some activities that they cannot do initially, activities that would require people clustering together.
Hmm.
And so all of these things are being looked at from a Grenadian perspective, but also from a OECS perspective and a CARICOM perspective. So CAFA, which is the regional body that is advising the region from a health point of view, they have put a draft which they have shared. I don't think it's my prerogative to share it at this time. It is under review. But they will give us in the region, just as CDC does, and we are guided by CDC, we are
Right.
guided by WHO, but we will certainly be guided by our CAFA institution as well.
Hey, I have a good question on the screen there. Alma is saying, if I get tested, do I still need to be quarantined when I get to Grenada?
Ah, that one is a bouncer.
Yeah.
No, it's a relevant question, but
Yes, yes.
how do I answer it? No, I cannot say no.
Right.
I wish I could. But we're looking at modalities of quarantine. Persons who come from high risk areas. So it depends on the time you come. But as it is now, everybody who comes is tested at this particular time, and that is what the plan is.
Hmm.
So I cannot say differently unless we are advised by the health team. I
So
cannot say.
then, so then the test from getting on the plane doesn't make a difference.
No, I'll tell you what. We cannot
Uh-huh.
say that. I'll tell you what.
Uh,
Because you test negative does not mean that you do not have the virus. The virus has to reach a certain level, a certain number for it to show up, or whether it's the antibodies, it will take a certain amount of days of exposure. So because you test negative, it just means that either you do not have it at all or you do not have enough
right.
to influence the machine one way or the other that is doing the testing. So that is why I take that question with a pinch of salt, very relevant, but I cannot say no because it doesn't give the whole picture.
Right. Understood. Understood. I mean, listen, I none of us, right? Myself and everyone in the chat there, none of us expect the government to have all the answers. Because you know what? Nobody have all the answers. Not even Dr. Fauci has all the
Mhm,
answers.
mhm.
And it's not like the government or anybody for that matter been through a situation like that so they could look at a blueprint that happened back in 2019 or 2018 or 20 whenever before. This is unprecedented. So we understand that all the answers would not be forthcoming. We understand that everybody wouldn't have every single thing in place, but it's just some food for thoughts because I'm sure
It
probably
is,
the
it
prime
is.
minister
And
is watching
I
and
take
people.
note of the question.
Mhm.
And perhaps we have to find a better way to communicate with people as we develop. I know we have some very good PR persons who they man the Facebook and they do things. Um, but maybe it doesn't get as far as.
Mhm.
But I'm happy you said that because this is uncharted, unprecedented waters that we're in. We have swum well so far, but we do not want to lose the gains, and therefore we are guided all the time by the health people. So whether it's a cruise ship, the health people have a protocol in place already. What is to be done, and therefore, although I might know a little bit,
Mhm.
we still leave it up to them, that team, to look at it. And we have some very competent people who are doing that. So I leave that to them. So when the time does come and you come into Grenada, you call me 2 weeks before and I'll be able to tell you what is
What is the process
happening
procedure?
at that particular time. Yeah.
I can't wait for that time. It's just that right now I've developed a phobia. I've developed a phobia of being in groups, like groups of 3, 4, and 5 people. It's antsy to me, right? And it's just been about 2 months. So I don't know. Getting on a plane, it's gonna be Hail Mary for me. About 10 Hail Marys before I get back on the plane. As much as I want to come home, I really need to come home. I'm thinking about all the things that I could do, but it's just going to be a process, a psychological process for me and a lot of people. We're going through a lot.
I know the first time I go on a plane after this, I have my own anxieties as well. But
Yeah,
life goes on, and I hope that the world will deal with COVID in such a way that at least we all work together to save lives and do whatever has to be done.
absolutely, absolutely. Guys, you're watching this live conversation here. We have the minister. Minister, I want to talk one little talk segment here, and then I'll let you go. And I hope you promise me that you'll come back. Promise me that you'll come back
No, I
sometime.
will. I will.
Okay. All right. Okay. I want to talk about Carnival. I want to talk about SpiceMas. This is right up your alley. Carnival is a gathering. Tourism spend a lot of money promoting SpiceMas. SpiceMas generate a lot of income into the economy. Returning nationals can't wait to come down in July, August for that festive time.
I
But
know.
we learned yesterday that SpiceMas would be canceled. What was the thought process in going in? What was the thought process that was made to cancel Carnival? No, at this point in time, what's different now than was say 2 weeks ago?
What's different now? Uh that is not my forte, but I've been in discussion, so I can't pretend I don't know.
Mhm,
To be honest with you, I too wanted it to be postponed. And
mhm.
I'll tell you why. Because Carnival is a people getting together thing.
Yeah,
As you know, it's a jamming, people together, socializing,
yeah,
and oh, you cannot avoid that in Carnival. It just is impossible because it takes away the whole essence of Carnival. So that is, I think that is the main problem. And because the dynamics of this disease is changing so fast, and as you said, where you live was the epicenter. Now it's another area, and so while some places are getting better, some places are having bigger numbers, and
yeah,
therefore, May is the time when we would have launched Carnival already under
yes,
normal circumstances. Mass bands would have been preparing, and some people were in a limbo. Do we go ahead? Do we spend money? Do we do things? And we had to alleviate them of that as well. But the main thing was that I don't see how you could observe social distancing in a carnival.
but that
So,
is that is why I could not understand for the life of me. We had 3 or 4 bands that launched, so that 3 or 4 bands spend their money. I'm actually a stakeholder in Carnival too. I do Monday Night Mass. I the guy that do Amazing Colors, um,
oh, you do?
and
Okay.
yeah, so I know the process. These people spend their money already, right? And the decision to cancel Carnival yesterday, I don't see what was different a month ago. We all we all knew that this thing would not just fly away and just go away from the face of the earth within by July. We all knew that. I mean, if coronavirus is in Brooklyn and there's no cases of it in Grenada, consider it is in Grenada.
True.
If it's anywhere, it's everywhere. So
You
the
correct.
decision to hold people back and drag and kick the can down the road and allow all of this to happen and give people the false impression that this is going to happen if you guys stay inside, I think it was, my word, not yours, unnecessary.
Okay, so I'll just take your word for it.
My word, not yours.
Yes, yes.
I don't want
I'll
them to
take
say
your
you
word for
say.
that. I'll
That
take your word for that.
I
Yes.
say, so it hard to think about no spice mass. It's hard. It's psychologically it's difficult even for me, but I understand the decision. It's necessary.
Mhm.
It's important to save lives. And carnival is a gathering. You can't take away gathering from carnival. You can't
You
say
can.
social
You can.
distance on that boomsy. I
No,
mean,
no,
you
no.
can't
There's
jump
no
from
way.
afar, right? So that's my take on it. But going forward, how do you see Carnival? Your opinion? How do you see Carnival staging in 2021? What's your vision?
Well, I would hope that we would have carnival, some modality of carnival by 2021. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Um, from what I've been hearing, COVID is going to be around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is like the flu, it will probably just come in seasons and so on. And therefore, we have to adjust our lives accordingly. So maybe it's an occasion for people to be innovative. And if you are involved in carnival, maybe the people who do carnival would come up with something, because I saw some guys advertising, and I've seen some other artists do that, from the US, UK, the Caribbean had a nice one. What was
Virtual parties.
something?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a time for that, so that even if we don't have carnival as we have known it next year, let's say, I
Mm-hmm.
expect at some point in time it will come, but I think it's an opportunity for creativity that you guys can do.
Mm-hmm.
Who know it well. The Calypsonians shouldn't run dry just because there is no carnival as we usually do. But I would like to see something happen this year virtually,
What's your
that would
proposal,
make you
Minister?
guys feel good.
What's your proposal? Because you're the minister. Uh,
Not
what's your
not
proposal?
not not for culture.
Okay. Oh, not for culture,
So
but for
don't put me
tourism.
on the spot.
Yes. No.
I
Okay.
would
Okay.
like
I'm
to
sorry.
leave this
I'm
question for
sorry. I'm
when you
sorry.
get the
The
Minister for
minister
Culture.
of culture.
Well, he
Okay.
has done an excellent job, and so don't beat up if we are being a little bit late, because people get caught up with a number of things. But I think it was the best decision that
Yes.
could have been taken at the time, and now it behooves you guys. Um, um, I'm trying, and I'm having a senile moment here.
Mm-hmm.
My guy, and he doesn't live far from me, and he knows I love him.
Which
That's
one?
Calypsonian.
Jamo?
No, Jamu St. David. I live in St. Mark, I'm a
You
real country girl.
okay. St. Mark. St. Mark.
Well,
Brother
it's not
B.
me
Brother
alone.
B.
Cover.
Brother B.
There's Brother B, and
Yes.
there's the other one. He gonna
Oh,
cry
from
shame
St.
at me.
Mark's, the
He
Road
gonna
March
cry
King,
shame at me.
Rooney
Somebody
J,
from St. Mark put up his name.
Rooney J.
Somebody
I
from St. Mark put up his name.
Oh,
But
I know. Don't tell me, don't tell me. I'm having a sinner moment too.
yes,
I know
Don.
this.
I
Go
got
on.
it.
Yes, little
I
one.
got it.
Go
Go
on.
on.
Yes,
Go
yes,
on.
yes.
And a number of others, budding Calypsonians. I think this is the time. Maybe we can do some training in songwriting, in presentation, and now you have me on Zoom. So there are virtual mediums that can be used. I think that is the time to do it and come up with some really motivating songs, because some people are a little bit down, eh?
Yeah.
Let us say it. Songs that can motivate people and so on. And why we can't have a party? Why can't you call me and I take my sip? I like a nice glass of wine like everybody else.
Yeah.
And so there are ways. But I don't think we should let the spirit die. I
Right.
think the people in the art form should find innovative ways. And I will stop here because I want you to talk to my very innovative Minister for Culture, and
Yeah.
that is Brother Cox, Nolan Cox.
Yes, that's and Brother Cox, if you're watching, we'd love to have you on here. Let's talk. Let's talk. Because it's
Somebody sent up Mr. Killan Vaughan.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Killer is from Vaughan, but nearby too. And I mean, we're in a small country. All of those guys in the art forms, they're my brothers, my nephews, my sons, whatever. And I'm proud of all of them for how far they've come.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I it's sad that the situation that we're going through, right? But I firmly think that on the other side of this, however it ends or whenever it ends, it would be different in many ways. It might mean that people might gravitate to the more religious side. They might turn to God. A lot of people might, that been through this experience, they might turn to God. It's just going to be different. It's just going to be different. And that's my projection on the other side. Final question. What's yours?
My projection,
Yes.
a new normal. That
What
we're
that
going
look
to
like?
settle down to a normal life that's going to be different. So there are certain things that I think we're going to do more of, the hand washing kind of thing, and so on, guarding how we cough and protecting other people. Um, I don't expect we would continue the 6 feet distancing forever. At some point in time, we have to get close for whatever reason for or the other. But I think the caution, and for a while, on the other side of COVID, there'll still be masks. But I look forward to the time when we don't have masks, when we can hug each other and kiss each other. And I believe that will come back. But there are certain things in terms of protection, maybe more testing and otherwise, that will be with us for a very, very long time.
Yeah, and the mask, we can't get away from the mask. The mask is here to stay. I just seen another comment there really quickly. Someone says, Meryl, she said that she's a dialysis stuck in Florida and need to come home. For the people who are stuck in any place, and you probably not don't have a contact or you don't have the information, what could they do now? Is there a number that they could reach? Do they need to reach Foreign Affairs? Who do they need to contact?
Some people do contact Foreign Affairs, and only recently we were talking about doing a database
Yeah,
on persons who are out there stranded, when to get some treatment, went on a holidays. That is the next group we're looking at, that we're giving consideration to. Of course, borders will have to be open, especially if we're talking about significant numbers. But we hope in the not too distant future, our people who are out there stranded can start coming back in. And I
yeah.
can't give a date. I wouldn't be so forward to do that, but I look forward to that time in the near future.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, thank you for chatting with us. Let's do it again sometime. Right
It
after
has been
Mr.
a pleasure.
It
Thank
has
you
been a
so
pleasure
much.
on my end.
And I
Thank you.
always look, our number one tourist is our Grenadian in the diaspora. Believe
Yeah,
it. We love you.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
so much. God
Thank you so
bless.
much. Appreciate you.
Okay, appreciate
All
that.
right. Yeah. So, guys, this was a nice conversation with the minister. I just see. Listen, I didn't expect to get all the answers today because, as I said, nobody have all the answers. Nobody really know everything that's happening in this dispensation. Nobody don't know the time. Like I saw this, they put up the flyer with SpiceMas yesterday, and they said that SpiceMas 2021. That is an assumption. That is a big hopeful in the middle of quotation mark, right? Because nobody know if they're gonna have a cure or vaccine by the end of the year. I hear people talking about a second wave, and the second wave back in 1918, 1917, 1918 with the Spanish flu, there was three waves, and the second wave was more deadly than the first and the third, right? So nobody know what the second wave might look like. Nobody don't know if the second wave might start in winter and go into 2021 and then put us back in a bad position for 2021 carnival. Nobody knows the answer. Nobody knows the answer. We could always just assume. So I didn't expect the minister to come here with every single answer to your guys' question. For those of you who posed question, we saw it. We saw it. And, I tried to put up on the screen as much as I could. And the minister, hopefully, they're paying attention. And for all the government that's watching, government official that's watching, I want you guys to go back and rerun this program again. And not only watch the program, I want you to watch the comments because there were some very, very, very good pointers in this from you guys that's watching. Because they say that there's no monopoly on good ideas. There might be there's a comment that I saw earlier that I didn't get to put it up, but I think that all of these things need to be pay attention to. All of these things need to come to the fore. We need to have a global conversation, a forum where people could get ideas from everybody. Because at the end of the day, it's all of us in it together, right? It's all of us in it together. Before I go, I want to say this as well, right? This coronavirus, if it exists anywhere, any part of the world, it exists every part of the world. So if you or your children or somebody that you know, a friend of yours, is out there and they out in the streets and they behaving reckless, right? They're not only endangering their own life, they're endangering your life, they're endangering my life. Somebody could be all the way in Westchester and they endangering the life of somebody or something happening in the Caribbean, because that is how it is. It's all linked. We are all linked together. I can't wait for the day, the minute, the time, the second that they say, boy, you can go back. You can jump on a plane, you can head back to Grenada, take a vacation. Yeah, I'll be the first one. It'll be hard, a hard decision to make, but yeah, I'll be on that plane. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being a part of our program today. We appreciate you. Tomorrow, don't forget to join in the morning, 8 a.m. in the morning. We have our new program called Rise with Dr. Z. She gets you up in the morning, get you feeling good, stretch, and start the day off really nice. Also, guys, we have a new program here called you guys probably seen it, Friendly Feud. It's going to be it's now going to be hosted by Brendan Blazer. If you guys want to play, have fun, have some games and get your mind away from all the news cycles, right over here and right along, because we have so many different programs, talk program, entertainment program, game program, a lot of different things, Keep it locked right here. When you hear the notification buzz, just log on. All right, guys, peace out. Seba, thank you so much. Hey, Mr. Ricardo Kings Douglas, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your question. Spice Baffy, thank you so much, Spice Baffy. Joan Duncan, thank you so much. Veronica Bailey, big up yourself. Okay. Lacey J, how you doing, Lacey J? Lacey J, always miserable, Lacey J. We love you still, Lacey J. Don't change a damn thing. Don't change a thing. Peace out, guys. Later, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.